Hi, it's Stefan here. How are you doing? I'm an actor and director myself sometimes, and I'm breaking down some of my favorite scenes from Squid Game, and I do this also with other shows. My Mister, for example, is one of my favorite shows, probably my favorite show. And here we are now in episode 2 of Squid Game, which really makes this drama stand out. And I want to go over some of the most key moments in this episode and share some of my thoughts about it and hopefully exchange feelings and thoughts in the comments, because I know you have a lot to say about this drama, I'm sure. So episode 2 probably has the biggest reversal in this drama that there is, actually. I don't think anybody expected this twist. And that is, of course, the big vote on whether they should continue with the game or not. Obviously, they've just had the shock of their lives. They've seen hundreds of people shot by machine guns or by sniper rifles. So let's have a look at that and then break it down a little bit and go through it step by step.
첫 번째 게임을 통과한 참가자 여러분, 진심으로 축하합니다. 첫 번째 게임의 결과를 알려드리겠습니다.
What's great here is really the very, 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 very measured, calm and completely cold and emotionless delivery. And I love the sound design for this. It sounds like one of those machines, you know, when you win. One of those, you know, I don't know, Las Vegas or something, right? It's like it seems to replicate exactly what all these gambling addicts and people that need lots of money need to subconsciously hear in order to stick with it. So it's funny as well, at this stage, she thinks, or they think, that this is about sort of revenge for not paying their debts or something like that, which is really interesting.
제가요, 애가 있거든요. 아직 이름도 못 지어서 출생신고도 못 했는데요.
뭔가 오해가 있는 것 같습니다.
Psychologically, this is really interesting, and I think it kind of reflects how we all are. It's a bit like right now they can only see all the people that got killed, right? And that's why they are in a desperate state, and many of them, the ones that speak now, they want to get away as quickly as possible. At the same time, though, of course, this changes very quickly in a minute. But it's just funny how we are only focused on what we're focused on, and that dominates our decision making.
게임일 뿐입니다.
사람을 그렇게 죽여놓고 게임이라고요?
그들은 게임의 규칙을 어겨서 탈락했을 뿐입니다.
And I'm actually curious, as a Westerner, just a side note, and this is maybe for the Korean people, you often see in Korean dramas that people kind of beg like this and go on their knees and stuff like that. I mean, that clearly is a very typical Korean way of sort of begging for your life or something that must have come from the past. Is there anything more to it? Where does it come from? Can you let us know in the comments? That would be really interesting.
동의서 제1항. 참가자는 게임을 임의로 중단할 수 없다.
정말 이런 짓을 하고도 무사할 것 같아? 여기로 찾아올 거야. 그럼 당신들도 끝장이라고. 끝장이야.
Okay, it's carrot and stick, isn't it, really? Let's have a bit of stick here. A bit of intimidation. Obviously, the police can't find them because they're on a desert island and they have been well insulated. But we know that. They don't know that.
동의서 제2항. 게임을 거부하는 참가자는 탈락으로 처리된다.
동의서 제3항. 참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면 게임은 중단된다.
맞습니다.
This is a great twist, actually, in this scene, that he's the one that brings us up. It makes sense as well from his character, because he's the one with the bankers and maybe a little bit of the legal clarity, and makes sense that he would have the cold hard brain to actually just focus on that. Obviously, it's not that complicated either, because it's the obvious next step. So
그럼 투표를 하게 해주시죠. 그만두고 싶은 사람이 더 많으면 여기서 우리를 내보내 주는 겁니다.
So this is where it gets interesting. When he suggests to have the vote and they agree.
여러분의 뜻에 따라 게임의 중단 여부를 투표하겠습니다.
Okay.
그럼 투표에 앞서 첫 번째 게임에서 적립된 상금을 공개하겠습니다.
Ah, okay. So now first we're seeing all the money and that will change everything again. Until now, we've only thought about all the dead people and being killed. And now we see the money and with most of them gamblers. I wonder what will happen. Oh, with a light show. It's even got the light show and everything. Look at that. I love how they kind of turn the light off here and make it into a beautiful thing. And the music. Where's that music from? And even organ music. You hear organ music? I love how they made the drama around the money falling through the music. What does it remind you of? It reminds me of sort of like a game hall or something. Also the organ music in the background to give it a sort of like a there is a dark humor to it, which is a bit like something comes from heaven, you know, also that it falls down into this thing and it's hanging above us. It's a bit like, you know, money is the god, you know? It's quite interesting.
에 적립되었습니다. 여러분께서 지금 게임을 포기하시면 저 255억은 탈락한 참가자들의 유가족에게 각각 1억 원씩 전달되고 여러분들은
They're using several psychological principles here. It's a bit like, oh, if you want to stop now, we're going to give it away to these other people the families of people who are dead, you know? So, and also they've basically dangled all this money in front of them now with that amazing light show. And now, basically, yeah, if you leave now, that's it, you know, bye-bye. So, and now you can vote.
저기요. 근데 6개 게임 다 통과하면 얼마를 주시나요?
참가자 456명, 따라서 총 상금은 456억입니다.
Well, somebody's completely changed their mind on this.
여러분 앞을 보시면 두 개의 버튼이 있습니다. 게임의 속행을 원하시면 초록색 동그라미 버튼을, 중미를 원하시면 빨간색 X 버튼을 눌러주시면 됩니다.
Lovely camera work.
여러분 가슴에 있는 번호의 역순으로 하겠습니다. 456번 투표해 주세요.
And again, you got this organ music, which I didn't even realize before, but now I'm listening to it consciously. I noticed this organ music. It's like, it's really interesting. It makes it into a sort of like a church procession almost. It's almost like they're all coming forward and they're getting their what do you call it? Give me the word. You know what I mean. I forgot what it's called. Oh my goodness. Just goes to show I'm an atheist. It must hurt the hell out of him not to try to gamble for this money, but I think he's just thinking of his daughter and his mom and his chances being quite small to actually get any money here. It's interesting here how people decide. I love how they did this. It's a bit like the money hanging above her head and everybody's like, have a chance of that or death or being out in the world again. Again, this drama always asks you, what would you do? It makes you think how desperate you would have to be to want to stay in the game, even though the chances are small. Anyway, so it all comes down, obviously, to the last vote, which is the old man. And this is one of the biggest surprises and reversals in this drama, which I love. Everybody expects him now to vote in, right? Especially Gi-hoon, who we've been following. After all, he's only got a little time to live. He really seems to be enjoying himself. He seems to be having a great time. Everybody's just doing what they want to do. He's just remembering this right now. and he is sure that he will want to stay. We are sure with him, because we think otherwise the whole series will stop. Listen to the tension. Listen to the tension. And the music was like boom, 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 like heartbeat, you know? Really, really beautiful. Really, really well done how they did that. So, of course, why did the old man decide to leave at this point? And I'm curious what you think. My own take on it is that he realized that with him being the deciding vote, he didn't want to be responsible for 100 people non-willingly to carry on participating and being killed. Now, to him, I believe it's important that people choose the rules and the game, and if that's the best chance they see to improve their lives and they want to put their life at risk, then so be it. But now that they've realized that they can get shot here, he wants to give the people a chance that want to get away to get away. Because I guess he wants them to make their own choices. If he hadn't had the deciding vote, I'm sure, I believe, he would have been like, yes, of course, I'm enjoying it because he was the one that had the greatest time in the first game. Despite everybody else being killed around him, he was like, yeah. You know, so obviously that set it up in such a way that we all expected him to say, yes, I want to stay in, but he didn't. And he was thinking of the higher good, I believe. And that's what makes this moment kind of moving and at the same time like a dramatic reversal. And the rest of this episode is about following the individual characters, the main characters that we've encountered so far, and understanding exactly how they're going to end up again on the game when they get re-invited. And frankly, I think in the same circumstances, most of us would go back as well, which makes this so compelling. And I think it's amazing that they did this in this way, that we don't get to know all these characters first, but we get to know them in the game. And after that first shocking game that they played, now we get to know each and every person's motivation for coming back into the game. It's a great way of doing it, because now we are investing in everybody and we get to pick our favorite characters. And whether it be the Korean defector girl, or whether it be Ali, whether it be any of the others, really, we now start to bond with the characters. So I think it's great. That scene with Gyun and his mother is so real in a way that the way she plays it, I think the actress is really, really great. And it's like she's confronting him with all the realities of the things that he's done to get them into this situation. And so it's really heartbreaking. And then obviously he runs around and tries to get more money. But this other scene that I really, really love here is the scene with her and her little brother.
애들이 다 거짓뿐이래. 나 여기서 못 간대. 누나가 나 여기다 버린 거래.
Why are these Korean child actors always so good? I don't understand. How is it possible that they are all so good?
누나 알지? 누나 약속한 걸 꼭 지키는 거.
And there we are, reason number 2 to go back. Let's have a look for Ali. That scene never ceases to shock me, clearly, as you can see. But yeah, he doesn't get paid. And for some reason, the one thing that Ali is always, somehow he's strong compared to everybody else. And somehow he ends up accidentally pushing this guy, his former boss, into this machine. Health and safety, people. How is that thing working there like that? Anyway, so yeah, he runs with the money, and then we see the scene with his wife, and we bond with him, and we can see why he needs to go back. Just has to gamble his life on it. And here we have Sae-byok, who is dealing with this guy who is obviously shifty, trying to sell her on the next people smuggler. Gion happens to meet the old man, and the old man says to him he's going to come back. And he goes begging for money with his ex-wife for his mom and for himself, we presume. And yeah, this one is really also very heartbreaking, really, because, yeah, as you know, the daughter sees him hitting. She clearly loves her dad, and another reason for him to go back. Yeah, he has to do something about this. So this is why this is great, this episode. It just basically humanizes everybody, and it gives everybody the backstory to these characters. And we are now starting to connect with them even more than we have already with Gi-yoon at the beginning. And this is how they all end up back in the game for our viewing pleasure, which is ironic, because in a way, we are the VIPs, aren't we? And obviously subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm breaking down these scenes in a way that I want to highlight some of the things that I find interesting. And I'm hoping that we can have a conversation about it as we have done with my Mr. the scene breakdowns there. Check out the rest of this channel, and I'll see you on the next video.